Hi everyone, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Are you ready for another session of learning English with me? Well, today is going to be a very special lesson because I got lots and lots of requests in this live session that ma'am, please do a reading lesson with us every week. Like you people want more reading lessons and all of you were requesting. So I would say that yes, here is the reading lesson as promised. I promise that I will make a reading lesson for you. And let's begin with today's reading lesson for this week. And for today's reading lesson, I have chosen this particular novel. That is one of my favorite novels, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Now, this novel is really inspirational kind of novel, something that's gonna give you so many life lessons. And I believe this is something that should be read by everybody. Okay, so I cannot recall, I think I've read this particular novel around 6 to 7 times at least. And I'm really fond of this particular story, the storyline, the characters, the narrative. Every line is so captivating and every word is so captivating that I can't tell you, and I can't wait to read it today for all of you. So we'll begin with the part 1. I'm gonna read a small portion for you. In between, I will cover some vocabulary, I'll explain some concepts, and at the end, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. So be attentive because this is a complete lesson in itself. Reading lesson, listening practice session, some vocab that we're going to cover, and yes, the questions, that is comprehension at the end, which will enhance your English and listening skills both. So are you ready? You'll have the text on your right hand side. So this is my left hand side, but on your screen this is going to be your right hand side, and you'll have the text here now. You can read along with me if you want, or you can listen to me as you wish. The boy's name was Santiago. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived with his herd at an abandoned church. The roof had fallen in long ago, and an enormous sycamore had grown on the spot where the sacristy had once stood. He decided to spend the night there. He saw to it that all the sheep entered through the ruined gate, and then laid some planks across it to prevent the flock from wandering away during the night. There were no wolves in the region, but once an animal had strayed during the night, the boy had to spend the entire next day searching for it. He swept the floor with his jacket and lay down, using the book he had just finished reading as a pillow. He told himself that he would have to start reading thicker books. They lasted longer and made more comfortable pillows. It was still dark when he awoke, and looking up, he could see the stars through the half-destroyed roof. So basically till now, the author has introduced us to the main character, which is this boy, particular boy named Santiago, and what he does and where he is living currently, he's staying. The place has been described. So he is a shepherd and he stays at an abandoned church where the roof is half broken, and this church has been abandoned long ago and the roof had fallen down long ago. So it's a completely abandoned place where he keeps his sheep and he stays at the night in this particular abandoned church. So basically this boy does not have a home. Let's read further and find out what is going to happen. I wanted to sleep a little longer, he thought. He had had the same dream that night as a week ago, and once again he had awakened before it ended. He arose and, taking up his crook, began to awaken the sheep that still slept. He had noticed that as soon as he awoke, most of his animals also began to stir. So, begin to stir is when anybody, a person, or in this case animals, they were sleeping, okay, and when they begin to wake up, they stir. Like basically, if you look at a person or a child, they change sides just when they are about to wake up. So that is stir. To have that particular movement that they're about to wake up, that is called stir. It was as if some mysterious energy bound his life to that of the sheep, with whom he had spent past 2 years, leading them through the countryside in search of food and water. They are so used to me that they know my schedule, he muttered. Thinking about that for a moment, he realized that it could be the other way around, that it was he who had become accustomed to their schedule. Now the thing is that as soon as he woke up, even his animals, the sheep, they woke up. And he was thinking in his head that they are so used to my schedule. And then he thought for a second that maybe it's the other way around. The other way around means maybe it's an opposite thing, that he is so much accustomed to their schedule. Accustomed is basically adjusted. That maybe he is adjusted to their schedule. So the word accustomed means adjusted, to adjust. And the word muttered. Muttered is when you speak something very slowly, just to yourself, Sometimes you do some work and you are speaking some things to yourself, maybe remembering what to do in a very slow voice, like, oh, okay, so this is what I have to do. This is called muttering, what I just did right now. So it's like talking to yourself in a very slow voice. That's muttered. Okay, moving forward. But there were certain of them who took a bit longer to awaken. The boy prodded them, one by one, with his crook, calling each by name. So crook is basically the stick kind of thing that is used by shepherds to lead their animals in a particular direction. So he prodded. Prodded means it's like he just kind of touched them with the crook and kind of shook them in order to wake them up. He had always believed that the sheep were able to understand what he said. So there were times when he read them parts of his books that had made an impression on him, or when he would tell them of the loneliness or the happiness of a shepherd in the fields. Sometimes he would comment to them on the things he had seen in the villages they passed. But for the past few days, he had spoken to them about only one thing. The girl, the daughter of a merchant who lived in the village they would reach in about 4 days. He had been to the village only once, the year before. The merchant was the proprietor of a dry goods shop, and he always demanded that the sheep be sheared in his presence. Sheared is basically the process of removing the wool from the body of the sheep, so that he would not be cheated. A friend had told the boy about the shop, and he had taken his sheep there. I need to sell some wool, the boy told the merchant. The shop was busy, and the man asked the shepherd to wait until the afternoon. So the boy sat on the steps of the shop and took a book from his bag. I didn't know shepherds knew how to read, said a girl's voice behind him. The girl was typical of the region of Andalusia, with flowing black hair and eyes that vaguely recalled the Moorish conquerors. Well, usually I learn more from my sheep than from books, he answered. During the 2 hours that they talked, she told him she was merchant's daughter and spoke of life in the village, where each day was like all the others. The shepherd told her of the Andalusian countryside and related the news from the other towns where he had stopped. It was a pleasant change from talking to his sheep. How did you learn to read? The girl asked at one point. Like everybody learns, he said, in school. Well, if you know how to read, why are you just a shepherd? The boy mumbled an answer that allowed him to avoid responding to her question. He was sure the girl would never understand. So basically, he mumbled something. That is, he said something unintelligent, like kind of that thing, to avoid answering exactly what she was asking. So this boy is a shepherd and he knows how to read. And the shocking part is, he has attended the school. So this girl is shocked that if this boy went to school, he knows how to read, why he's working as a shepherd. He was sure the girl would never understand. He went on telling stories about his travels, and her bright, moorish eyes went wide with fear and surprise. As the time passed, the boy found himself wishing that the day would never end, that her father would stay busy and keep him waiting for 3 days. He recognized that he was feeling something he had never experienced before, the desire to live in one place forever. With the girl with the raven hair, his days would never be the same again. But finally, the merchant appeared and asked the boy to shear 4 sheep. He paid for the wool and asked the shepherd to come back the following year. So basically, till now, it was told how this boy, he's a shepherd, and now he loves traveling, but now he met this particular girl and she was showing interest that if he knows how to read, if he's educated, why he is working as a shepherd, right? And now he cannot wait to go back. It's been 1 year, and she was a person who was so different from others because she talked to him, and otherwise there were only his sheep to whom he used to talk. He was quite a lonely person, right? Okay, let's see what's happening next. And now it was only 4 days before he would be back in that same village. He was excited and at the same time uneasy. Maybe the girl had already forgotten him. Lots of shepherds passed through, selling their wool. It doesn't matter, he said to his sheep. I know other girls in other places. But in his heart, he knew that it did matter. And he knew that shepherds, like seamen and like traveling salesmen, always found a town where there was someone who could make them forget the joys of carefree wandering. So wandering is basically moving from one place to another and not having a stable lifestyle. So as he was a shepherd, his lifestyle was to wander from one place to another. So he never used to stay at a single place. And currently, when this particular story started at the beginning, he was staying at a particular place in an abandoned church, because he was staying at this place only for some period of time, and then there would be the time he had to move away to a different place. The day was dawning, and the shepherd urged his sheep in the direction of the sun. Now, dawning here is used as a verb, but you know the word dawn, from dusk till dawn. So dawn is that time of the day when the first rays of sun appears in the sky, that particular time, right in the morning around 4 to 5 a.m. between that, when you see the first rays of sunlight in the sky, that's dawn. And dawning here means that he was able to see the sun come up in the sky. So he was able to see the sunlight, So it's a way to say now the day has begun or the night has ended. They never have to make any decisions, he thought. Maybe that's why they always stay close to me. The only things that concerned the sheep were food and water. As long as the boy knew how to find the best pastures in Andalusia, they would be his friends. Yes, their days were all the same, with the seemingly endless hours between sunrise and dusk, and they had never read a book in their young lives and didn't understand when the boy told them about the sights of the cities. They were content with just food and water, and in exchange, they generously gave of their wool, their company, and once in a while, their meat. If I become a monster today and decided to kill them one by one, they would become aware only after most of the flock had been slaughtered. Thought the boy, they trust me, and they've forgotten how to rely on their own instincts because I led them to nourishment. So, this boy has so deep thoughts about life. The boy was surprised at his thoughts. Maybe the church, with the sycamore growing from within, had been haunted. It has caused him to have the same dream for a second time, and it was causing him to feel anger toward his faithful companions. He drank a bit from the wine and remained from his dinner of the night before, and he gathered his jacket closer to his body. He knew that a few hours from now, with the sun at its zenith, the heat would be so great that he would not be able to lead his flock across the field. It was the time of the day when all of Spain slept during the summer. The heat lasted until nightfall, and all that time he had to carry his jacket. But when he thought to complain about the burden of its weight, he remembered that because he had the jacket, he had withstood the cold of the dawn. We have to be prepared for change, he thought, and he was grateful for the jacket's weight and warmth. So it was really hot when the sun was at its zenith. Zenith is the maximum time duration where the sunlight is maximum, like the heat of the sun is felt maximum in the day. That is zenith. That the sun has risen in the sky at its maximum height and the heat is too much. So that period of afternoon. And at nights, the nights were so cold that he has to keep his jacket close because that was the only source of warmth for him. So this is the end of today's session. If you want, I would continue this particular novel story for you in more reading sessions. Do let me know in the comment box if you're interested, because from here on, this story actually is going to become a lot more beautiful and interesting. Okay, we have looked over a few vocabulary words. We have read the novel. Now it's time for those 5 questions I was talking about, right? The questions are going to be pretty simple because this is just the first chapter. Listen carefully. I'm going to ask you all the 5 questions, and this time you'll get the answer key at the end. Okay, don't cheat. Don't look at the answer key first and then come back to the questions, because then it's going to be a loss for your own self, It's for you. The questions are for you to test your listening skills and your understanding of everything that we have done in this lesson. So I suggest try answering the question, and the answer key is for you to check those answers. Let's begin with the question. So the question number 1 is, what is the name of the boy in the story? What is the name of the protagonist, the boy in the story? Question number 2. What does the boy do for a living? What does the boy do for a living in the story? Question number 3. Where is the boy currently staying? Where is the boy currently staying in the story? As the story opens, I'm gonna simplify the question a bit. As the story opens, the boy is staying at a particular place and telling us his thoughts. So, what is that place? Where is the boy staying? Question number 4. How did the boy learn to read? How did the boy learn to read? Okay, question number 5. Who is the person he's excited to meet and why? Who is this person he's so excited to meet and why? Okay, that's it. So these are the 5 questions and the answer key is on your screens. Okay, everybody. So I hope all your answers were correct. This was the reading session for today. If you want more such reading sessions, or if you want me to continue this particular novel, just let me know and I'll do that for you. So that's it for today. Now I'm gonna see you tomorrow with a new lesson. Till then, take care and bye.